Hello, everybody, and for anybody that is tuning in, welcome. I'm going to take just a minute or two to get things going, and then I will start doing some builds. Start doing a little customizing, make some mountainous terrain for Sqwürmish. If you are here and don't know about Sqwürmish, throw some questions in the comments. I should be able to see most of them as they feed into my StreamYard feed. One thing I do want to do is let some folks know in other places that this is going on. Got to let the folks in the Discord know, in the Grim Place Discord know that this is happening so that folks can maybe jump in and hang out. So this will take just a second while I get that going. I had to test it out. I wanted to see if I could actually embed it in the Kickstarter page, and it's in there, although it's not actually showing the stream, which is what I was hoping it would do. Because that would be pretty rad if you could actually see that this was going on in the stream. So, but that's okay. Let's go now and post this real quick. Live now on the places. Okay, so let me hit publish on that one. And then I'm going to go do one more thing, updating my Kickstarter campaign to say that, hey, live now. Click the button below. Oh, is it showing? Is it actually showing? I just went to it and it looks like it's got me frozen. So maybe it is. Maybe it'll just show it, and that'll be that. So hey, so again, if there's anybody in the chat, if you have any questions as we go, I'm going to end up sharing another screen shortly, so that you can see what I'm going to do. What I am planning to do is I'm going to make more terrain like this. This is a very jagged, kind of geometric style mountainous terrain that I needed for the very first scenario in Sqwürmish, the Vast Grimm skirmish game that's based off of Forbidden Psalm. So I needed two for the initial one for the corners of the play space, the 2 foot by 2 foot space. And now for one of the scenarios that's further along, I need to almost kind of encase the entire 2 foot by 2 foot space with this type of mountainous terrain. So I need to create two more pieces so that I can have them to play with. You can use anything while you're playing to represent that terrain, but since I'm here and I'm making it and I'm going to be photographing these pieces and using those in the actual page layout of the book, I thought I might as well go ahead and build them and just kind of show you how it's done. So let me step over here. I'm going to grab some foam core. See what I got. This is going to be a little bit wonky. It's going to be pretty big for up here on my desk, but we shall see. Hopefully I won't knock my coffee over in the process. If anybody's watching in the chat, jump in and throw a comment in the chat so that I can see you're here. Hopefully it should come through to StreamYard. Okay, yeah, this is definitely going to be a little bit big, but let's see. Let's go ahead and I'm going to drop another camera. Whoa, Charles, it's been a long time, my friend. I hope you are doing well. Here we go. I'm going to drop this in. So hopefully this will be a good one. This is using my phone to show it. So we got this foam core here. And the first thing I'm going to do, if I can stretch and make it around, is I'm going to trace the base of this just to give me a rough idea on the shape so it can be kind of similar. It certainly does not have to be exact. One of the fun things about building terrain like this, especially stuff that's supposed to be at least a little organic in nature, it should be able to be different and be wonky and be weird and just kind of have fun with it as you do it. If you feel like it's starting to stress you out, then you're doing it wrong. This should be totally fun and relaxing. So as you can maybe barely see, I just did a rough idea as to where this is going to go. And I'm quickly going to chop this up just so it's way more manageable on my cutting mat that's at my desk, so I can get a little closer and actually make this thing happen. So I'm just going to slice through here, and I know this is where one of my edges is because I kind of drew that. I'm going to go ahead and get that one nice and clean. And then we will come back to this piece of foam core in a little while. I did not seem to cut it all the way through. That's okay. Sometimes when you don't cut it through, sorry about that loud design, you fold it in half. And if you get the X-Acto on the other side, you can just kind of gently go down, slice it that way. Now, at a certain point, I have to let some cats out of the room. They didn't realize I was streaming, and a bunch of cats decided they wanted to be in here today. So we've got this this base shape. I'm going to clean this edge up because it's not a straight line, and I want this to be clean for when I'm going to start gluing stuff to it. Speaking of glue, I'm going to turn on my hot glue gun that I've got glued up on this side. I'm just going to slice that down. So there we go. So, if you're tuning in and you're just seeing this for the first time and you don't know what this is and you don't know what Sqwürmish is, it's and also if you're not familiar with skirmish games, so this is a game where you create 5 characters that are part of your crew or your like war band, and with that, you are then going to go on missions together, trying to finish objectives and get through them so that you can earn credits, so that you can buy more stuff, so you can upgrade your hideout and continue through the 13 scenarios that are going to be in the book. And so the first 3 scenarios all happen to be on this one moon. And for this moon, and in scenario 2, that's what I'm making this for. It's weird. I thought I put my Discord on the quiet side, but they're just coming through anyway. But where did it go? There we go. Okay, so maybe it was a different noise that came through. So Pink Bob Ross building terrain here. Yes, yeah, happy little accidents, except for when you actually cut into yourself and blood goes everywhere. So with this, I'm just kind of making sure that these are nice straight lines. They don't have to be like 90-degree angles or anything like that. Part of building these jagged shapes is it's part of its problem solving. Part of it's like almost like Lego building once you start getting into it, because you're going to have to cut strange shapes and kind of have to think backwards a little bit and just see how it goes. So now this is going to be the base. So we've got this. I know that like it's very similar to this one, right? Because I cut that almost the same. Since that's going to be the base like that, I'm going to flip it. And you know what? Just so I don't forget, because old brain here, right? I'm going to put this, I'm going to write down top on here. So it's going to say top there. So I'll make sure that as I'm starting to glue things together, this is all going in the right way. Now, along with having a base, I like to create a back wall here so that it gives me a foundation of stuff to kind of glue into and roughly like where I want to build it up to. Like I don't need this thing to be gigantic by any means. So sometimes you can find the piece of scrap that you just used and use that as a foundation. Like this is looking okay. It's not super ideal, but I think if I were to looking at this and if I were to say, if I slice this down a little bit, if I cut in a bit here and there, so it's not quite so jarring going up, I think I can make that happen. So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and slice this piece down and get it closer to the edge. So I know that, and then I'll have another fun little piece that I'll get to try and figure out how I can glue that into somewhere else later on. Okay, so let's see how this goes now. So we've got this, and you start putting them together, and they're starting to come together okay. I still think this is too jutting. So I think instead of that, I think I want to cut into it a little bit. Take out a little divot so it's not so 90 degrees. Let's see. So I'm just going to come in here like this. I do like part of it being a little jutty. Not that that's even a word. And then I'm going to, that one was certainly not actually on the hard edge of the ruler part, but that's okay. Clean that up a little bit. And what I end up doing, if you don't stick around for later, once I get all the pieces all glued together and the kind of foundation of what I want it to be, then I end up cutting up a whole bunch of strips of paper and paper macheing it so that it kind of covers everything up and gives it a fun texture that makes it a little more interesting to paint. And I'm going to do a couple of extras here. I've cut a little further than I think I wanted to originally. That's okay. This is all going to get glued up. So now you can see how it's not that 90-degree angle. When I put it together, it's going to start to have a nice foundation. And so because the base is a little bit longer here than the back wall, I'm going to start gluing this in a minute. And I'm just going to lay a bead of glue down along here, and then I will attach it to the base. Does anybody have any questions so far about where I'm going with this? And again, if you are just now tuning in, I'm going to be creating something very similar to this kind of this moon texture, this mountainous moon rock. Let's go ahead and I'll take this bead here. Whoa, dropped. The stick pot glue is not in all the way. But I guess it's not ready for it yet then. If you have any questions about Sqwürmish, making terrain, although I'm very new to the making of the terrain, though I really enjoy it. I find it very relaxing, calming, which is kind of something that I need while I'm in the middle of a Kickstarter, you know? Kickstarters, even when they're doing well, are always stressful because you want them to do as wonderfully as they can, and you want to try and unlock all the stretch goals that you've dreamt up. And there's always all sorts of things that can happen with them. So I put that glue in, and now I'm giving it a little bit of pressure because this is an older piece of foam core. It buckled a little bit, and so it's not completely laying flat, which is okay. You know, we're going to be using this to play make-believe, so it's not a huge deal. Now, one thing that I just realized while I was sitting up here like this is significantly taller than the previous one. So I'm going to try and bring these up about at the same time and look at how many more inches that is. I'm going to chop that off because I don't want this thing, you know, it's already a lot to take terrain around when you're going to play at different places. And when you have something massive, it makes it even more complicated. So I'm just going to chop off this little triangle off the top of it. Give that a little slice. I think it's about time for a new X-Acto blade. But you don't always have to cut through on the first try. Just give it a little bit of, just a little bit, give it a little bit of pressure. So, okay, now I think that's a good little foundation. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do this corner as well, because then it'll give me a real solid idea of where it's going. I wonder if I can back my phone up a little bit more and tilt it up just a little bit so you can see my messy room. Now you can see all of it. There we go. And that way, especially as we start to build up, I think that'll be better. So, and if you are watching this and you're following along and you haven't checked out Sqwürmish, go type Sqwürmish into your web browser in a separate window, of course, like it's spelled going across the bottom. That's going to be it'll take you over to the Kickstarter that I have going on right now. I'm going to grab another piece of foam core. I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring this in and just kind of do a little doodle of what I think I might like for this to actually be. Right, so I'm going to lay this down. I'll just take a pen so maybe you can see it a little bit better. Because with the pencil, it was just so light, it was a little difficult. So I know I want to kind of bring it in. And there we go. So I know that this is roughly what I want it to be. This tells me that I need to kind of do a 90-degree angle there from the base. When I go in to do my cuts, I'll show this up on the front view, so maybe you can see that a little bit better. Do I have any challenges in sliding Vast Grimm to skirmish format? There have been some challenges, and one of the main things that I thought was going to be a problem at first that I found to actually be more fun was taking how I've created how to convert the Grimm Parasite in the RPG side. So when you convert it to the RPG or to Sqwürmish, I basically do it where you take whatever the fraction is. Like, so generally it's like there is a 1, 2 in 6 chance that this creature is infected with the Grimm. So I would take that fraction and reduce it down to its main. Like if it's 2 in 6, that's really 1/3. So I take the bottom of that fraction, the 3, and then I subtract that from 20. And so then what that means is when you are facing a Grimm, like one of the Grimm, who normally their GP is in the RPG is 1 in 2 and 2 and 3, 2 and 6, or 1/3 chance. If you are in close combat with them, you have to make a toughness test of 17 or higher to not get infected. Now, there's things like I've introduced rebreathers, which allows you to roll extra dice depending on the quality of the rebreather for these tests. But the chance of you getting infected is so much greater in Sqwürmish that at first I thought it might hinder the experience. But instead, I think it's really enhanced it. Because in the RPG side, at least when I'm running the games, I tend to pull punches a little bit when it comes to the parasitic infection. It doesn't seem to be as prevalent as it is in the skirmish game. But it's also super fun because when doing that, there are now ways in the skirmish game that you can easily get rid of the worms. Like in between scenarios, if you're playing in campaign mode, if somebody in your crew has worm extraction tools, you can most likely extract it between scenarios with a certain roll. And so then it also is allowing me to further the advancement of the unscathed rules, which in the RPG side that haven't been fully developed. The idea that if you get infected by all 6 different types of worms, that you can then you can't get infected anymore. So there have been some things that have been challenging, but at the same time have almost kind of, I think, will influence the RPG side and push that forward even more. That's a good question, Charles. Thank you for asking it. Okay, so I cut this little one out. I'm going to keep this handy because I'm going to start slicing and dicing some of that soon. It's like I've kind of planned out this area a little bit, but I think I could have planned it better. So when I come back, I probably won't stream over the weekend, but I believe I'll probably be back Monday to do some more streaming. I think I'm going to do things like I'm going to stream not just the terrain building stuff. I think I'm also going to do some streaming of page layout and design, so that if anybody's interested in watching how I kind of go about that, just kind of do a lot of different things that are all part of the process of creating this game and the Kickstarter that goes along with it. Now, of course, I won't be doing any of the miniature sculpting because all of that is Saul, but that's okay. Okay, I've got a little bit of hot glue on the 2 ends of that. Now I'm going to pull this in here, press this down, and try and get this lined up and hold it in together. Both hands. And like I said, this doesn't have to be precise. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just want it to hold together enough that when we go to start doing paper mache over it, that it's going to be, it's going to hold together and look good enough for that. Okay, so it's still a little bit warm. That's okay. So you can still see where I wrote down the word top, so I wouldn't get confused. And now we've got the foundation for this corner, which is pretty cool. It's starting to get exciting. Starting to think like, okay, now we're going to start having some weird moon rock. So the first thing, I'm going to take this piece that I had already cut and see if there's anywhere that it'll just fit naturally on its own. So I can look at it, see, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put some glue on this and put it there, and we'll see where things go. This is the stuff where, like Charles had mentioned, the Bob Rossing it. These are going to be the happy little accidents that help make this individual piece unique. And this is something that what I'm doing here, this is something anybody can do at home. Just get some foam board, some hot glue, and start building stuff weird. And for anybody that's watching, thank you for tuning in. I hope your day is treating you well. If you have questions or anything you want to chat about, feel free to jump it in the comments. I'd love to be chatty because otherwise I'm just going to keep talking like this, like I'm talking to myself, except for when Charles is asking some good questions. I'm going to take this little bead of hot glue. Anybody watch Commander Mark way back in the Wayback Machine? Making the fun noises as he was drawing his little alien settlements or cities. Can't remember the name of that. Gluing that in. And so one of the things I also want to try and get while I'm doing this, I know these are kind of sharp, severe angles, is I want to like grab a miniature, right? And I want to make sure that as I start to build these, not all of the ledges are impossible to stand on. You want to make stuff where, even though I like these crazy angles, I want to make sure that miniatures can be on them so that it adds to the experience instead of just looking neat. Those are going to be the bones of the terrain in a sense. How rugged is the paper mache? No worries of poking through. Oh, so there's this. I'm going to build out almost all of this, and then I just paper mache over top of it. And the part of the reason I wanted to do the paper mache on top is because I wanted a weird texture, right? I wanted it to have that almost like wrinkled fabric texture on top of it. And I even glued some little rocks down too. But the paper mache, what I've been doing lately is I have been taking things that I print and that are stuff that I would normally just throw into recycling. I've been keeping stacks of those, like when I accidentally print the wrong thing and whatnot. And when I do that, I just have a stack of papers. Oops. And I will just slice them like 1-inch thick slices, most likely, and just dip them into the mix of water and Mod Podge and just start slapping it down. Gonna have to decide if I'm gonna do that right here or if I'm gonna maybe do that over here and move the camera over at that point so that tend to be a little bit messy. And I don't know how messy I really want to be right over here. Because, this is my main workstation. And I don't want to get too much paper mache mess on my computer area. So now that I've done that, that close-up helped a lot. Yeah, yes, absolutely. There's really fun textures in there. And I was talking to Jim, the tabletop engineer, yesterday because I went over to his lab and we played this and we played Plunderlust and he filmed both of them. But he was talking about one of his friends that he was curious if I used painter's tape and because he has a friend that was doing that versus doing like a paper mache process. But he said some of the textures that he got out of that were very similar. So here, I'm just going to start cutting triangles, right? Since I know roughly what I want shapes to be, things like that, I'm just going to cut some. I can always cut them down more, but this gives me stuff to just start piecing together and puzzling it along as I go. There we go. Again, anybody that's here watching, if you have questions, throw them in the comments. I know I'm seeing YouTube comments. I should be seeing Facebook comments. I don't know about Instagram comments. Let's see if there's if it's showing up in the Instagram or not. So, but at least YouTube and Facebook, that stuff should show. Slicing and dicing. And then we're starting to get closer to unlocking some more stretch goals. The next stretch goal in the campaign is I'm going to design faction character sheets specific for each faction, since there's 4 factions in the game. That way it would, at least have a little unique flavor to it while you're looking at it and you're playing it out. And then after that, at the 25,000 mark, which I'm sure we're going to get to. We're still only a couple days into the campaign, but when we get to that, we're going to get a 3-scene expansion where you can take your crew into the Last War, written by the creator of Forbidden Psalm. And I'm going to do the art and the layout, and I'll probably even make the terrain for that so I can photograph it and put that in. And hopefully hopefully the more I do these terrain builds and these sorts of videos, hopefully I'll keep doing them, because, you know, as long as I'm enjoying it and folks like you are enjoying that I'm doing it, I might as well keep it going. Okay, so now you see where I'm just going to grab various bits and pieces, bits and bobs, and start slicing these into here. Now, where I see that there is a line where I've already developed something, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this pen and I'm going to do a little diddle there, little one here, and I'm going to cut into this. But what I'm going to do, instead of cutting into it on this side, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to follow that line, and I'm going to do the same thing over here, and I'm going to connect the two, and I'm not going to do a deep cut, right? I'm just going to do a slight cut there so that I can take the foam core and bend it and not actually break both sides. You'll see what I mean by that in just a second. So I'm just going to do a light cut, another one. So I'm not applying too much pressure. What that does, it allows you to give it a nice little pop. Okay. And the reason I did it on the other side, because I knew I was folding in, right? And so now when I glue that, I'm going to be able to glue it like this, and it's going to give me this front face here. Oops, that hand in the way. It's going to give me this front face here, which will be nice because that'll start to kind of build out and give a little more structural support. So now I'm going to go in and lay down a little bit of hot glue. I think my cat Beetlejuice likes when I make that noise. Right, buddy? Yeah, watch out. This is hot. You just want to be the star of the show? Yeah, I get you. Okay, so as I do this, you'll see that the glue kind of seeps through. It's not a big deal with glue coming through on the front, since we're going to cover this in paper mache. Now, Beetlejuice, as much as I love having you up here, this is not the best place for you. Oh, please don't destroy. Don't go onto the toy shelf. Come on, buddy. Hang on just a second, everybody. Come on, buddy. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. So that was Beetlejuice's first cameo for the day. See if any of the other cats decide to join him. I've got 2 other ones that are on the floor over here. Okay, so I see that I've got this piece, and this piece is, this piece would, sorry, fat hand in the way again. That piece will probably do okay going there, and that'll allow us to do some other shapes. I'm going to mark this off here because I know I'm going to want to snip that off, so we'll go ahead and do that. It's always easier to slice it off at the beginning. And we're just going to slice and dice that off. Trim. And then I'm going to look at, knowing that I need to go on the bottom and the top edge here, I'm going to try and work this quickly. Oh, let's see. Looks like oh no, the power got disconnected from the hot glue gun. Hopefully the heat is strong enough to melt. Watch my fingers. Try to do this with speed and finesse. Put the glue gun back on the heater. Try not to burn my pretty little digits. And drop that in there. And so I'm just going to hold this down and let that start to fall into place. A little bit of glue booger on my hand. All right, so we got that going. And just in case anybody is watching and doesn't want to type stuff in, if you haven't gone to the Kickstarter yet, click that link I just sent. it will get you to where you need to go and check this game out. Because you should. It's awesome. But I'm not just saying that because I made it. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna slice this one here, and then I guess we'll even just fold that up like we did the other and see how that sits. So I'm gonna do the same thing where I trace around to the other side to give myself an indication of where I want to do the notch. And then I'll give it a slight slice, and give that a little choppy chop. So I get in the camera. Nope. There we go. Almost. It's so far away. Just gonna lay this down right where my little indicators are, and give this a light cut. You can feel it as you're pushing down. You can feel it start to break. Like foam core has that foam in the center, that nice soft center, and it's got the two harder edges, and you can feel when the blade actually goes in, and give that a little pop. Now that that's folded, I'm going to check it here, and I'm going to see that it's going to be too tall. If I move my fat hand, it's going to be too tall, so I'm going to mark this as well, because I'm going to go ahead and just slice that off to get rid of it once I get that there. And it's so much easier to cut before you actually glue it on than it is to do it like this and then try and slice it and try and get a nice clean cut. So I'm going to do that here and slice it off. And just give it a all right, there we go. Is there anything, anybody in the comments, anybody that's watching, anything that you'd like to see when doing these sorts of streams? Just gonna do a little dabble do me on both sides, on these two edges. Gonna drop that in there, and give it a little solid push to try and hold it in place while that glue sets up. There we go. There we go. Now that's happy. Okay, I'm gonna have a sip of coffee and think about what I've done. Think about what still needs to happen. But you can see this is starting to take shape pretty quickly, right? It doesn't take a lot to start to get these forms. And all those triangles that I cut were just random shapes that I cut and then started to put into place to see how it would go. Strands of hot glue everywhere. All right, so I'm probably going to need to make some more pieces in a minute or two, but I'm going to see what I've got here and see if there's anything that's just like calling to me. Nothing yet, nothing quite big enough, I don't think. So I want things to still jut out in different ways. So let's make some more triangles. Let's see where that goes. Love seeing how the sausage is made, sculpting, layout, digital art. Love seeing all that. Fantastic. Well, hopefully there will be plenty of that then over the next couple of weeks. There's going to be a week where I won't be doing any while I'm at Gamma in Louisville for the industry trade show. But I think most of the rest of the time of this campaign, the Kickstarter for Sqwürmish, I'm going to probably try to stream pretty regularly. Part of that is hopefully we'll get more people who want to make stuff and build stuff on their own. Hopefully part of it will be making new friends and getting more people that want to play our silly, weird game. And then, also it keeps me working on stuff like this, even though, and it keeps me a little more engaged and active than just kind of being locked in my office doing what I do all by my lonesome. So I think this will be good. All right, just have a quick little detour, checking out, make sure there wasn't anything pressing happening in the wild world of my emails. And I'm just I don't even have it in view. So let's see some triangles that I've cut so far. This isn't a triangle. This is a triangle, but weird shapes, just trying to cut a bunch of pieces to see what will work and what will not. let's do another one or two or three, and then we'll start piecing things together. See what happens. I'm just kind of laying my triangle down and working my way through this. And I know that I need to do another one of these. So if some of these triangles don't mash up here, then maybe they'll work in the next one. Okay, so I've got some of the bigger pieces, bigger triangles, and now we're going to just kind of see where these might be able to get jam-a-lam-a-ling-longed in here. Let's see. Puzzle, puzzle, puzzle. Okay. You know what? I've decided I want to do something. Let's do something along this edge to start to bring this together and help see where this is going to go. So I'm going to do this one. I'm just going to glue this down, and we will hopefully piece that stuff. Whoa, the hot glue's coming at me. Hopefully we'll get it together. Little strands, little strands. Whoa, drippity, 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 droop. Okay, got a little bit down there. This one might actually, so this here, I think makes a kind of a nice jump, but it's got a right angle, and this is sliced in. So sometimes when you're doing this stuff, you got to go and like eyeball and make some little slight adjustments on things that you already have cut and hope that you cut it right. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you look at it kind of backwards and you do the opposite direction, but that's okay. These are all just little learning curves, and they don't all have to be precise either. Also after mentioning the stuff with doing the paper mache, so I could have this standing straight up and down. Instead, I'm gonna tilt it at a little angle because I think that's a little more playful. It's going to be a little more fun when looking at it as scenery. There's some hot gluesies, and I'm just gonna jam that in there like that, as you may be able to see once I move my arm. It's good enough for it to be setting up, and so that starts to give this some form and some shape, and I think I'll even like maybe bend some things down a little bit. Let's keep this side going as I'm going through it, and let's slice the front end of this off. This little nose here. I'm not even gonna grab the triangle for this. I'm just gonna slice that off. I know that I want this to kind of do that. So I'm gonna put a little glue there. Are there any stretch goals in the Kickstarter that anybody would like to see? Some things that haven't been announced that you think would make the campaign better, stronger, more fierce? Gonna go ahead and just start building some other things out here. Lay some glue down on that. And remember, some of these, we don't have to fill all the holes. It doesn't have to be a complete solid mass. Because as I had mentioned, we are going to paper mache this. So if there's some negative space here, it can get covered with paper and glue and Mod Podge, and it'll be just fine. Since I'm hearing it's just barely touching, I'll do a little dab of hot glue there. That way it'll just kind of join those 2 points and give it a little more structural stability. Got little dangles of the hot glue. Let's see how it's coming together. We had a little cave in here. Our little man-chine could come in and go, hey, I'm going to go live in here. It's going to be great. Haha. Now I want to build a little cave entrance in there. Have something in there, maybe so like you could have a place to go and kind of get a little bit of cover lurking back there. Or perhaps there's some sort of monster inside. Let's see. Maybe we'll add a cave. That would be fun. But before that, let's build this on here, because I think that's a good shape. Zoom. There we go. A little bit of hot glue there. I think I probably did a little Beetlejuice. You're coming to visit again? Or do you just want to be out of the room? Is that why you're up here, to try and get me to open the door for you? Let me hold this hot glue. Yes, and then I will take care of you and get you out of the room so you can be at peace with that. Here, come here, buddy. Whoa. There we go. Okay, so that's it for getting to see Beetlejuice today. Maybe you'll get to see him again on Monday. Sometimes I forget talking nonstop makes you thirsty. Let's see. That's not going to work. Is that going to work? No, don't love that. So some of these, once you start getting pieces together, you're just going to be like, is this going to work here? Is this going to work here? No, it's not going to work. Let's try something else. And like, also don't want to have it always be like straight angles of things. Kind of like how this is going. Let's do this for now. I'm going to glue that along that edge. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I'm going to drop this in. I'm going to hold it at a slight angle so that it'll glue like that. So it's not gluing on a straight plane. Then you know what? Whoa. Wants to jump off. I'm also going to just do a little dab here. Boop. Little boop to try and help give it another little bit of support. And you know how I talked before how once it's glued like this, sometimes it's harder to actually cut pieces. I think once this firms up here, I think I want to slice this just so I can bend that flap in, and so that this isn't just a straight edge there. But I need to give that just, a couple minutes for that to firm up. While that's happening, let's see about what can we do here to make this a place of interest. I think this might work if I slice a little bit off the top. If I slice some going that way. So I'll do that. I'm going to use the triangle for this since it's a longer, like anything over like a ½ inch, I usually want to try and use a straight edge just to make sure that I cut it nice and clean. There we go. And then this, just holding it there again before I actually commit to the glue, because once you do hot glue, there's no going back. Of course, hot glue can be pulled apart so easy. There we go, gluing that down into place. Hold that down for just a minute, and that starts to feel. Okay, so now this is in pretty good shape. I'm seeing that I like visually, I think I want to do here to here, corner, like where the corner is to right here. Get that up nice up close and personal. Let's come into this one. See these? Okay, come on, there we go. Where I did that drawing there. I'm going to try to slice that. Just a light cut. I want it to be a clean cut, like I want it to be a straight line. And I know I just said I don't usually not use a straight edge for anything over a ½ inch, but I'm just doing it here because I'm just barely trying to break through the surface so I can give that a pop. And so now that has folded here, and it's going to give another little textured layer here once I glue this down. And once we start to put the paper mache over top of it, I think that'll be good. It also makes that plane a little more interesting to look at. Holding this in place while that starts to bond. Oh, you pretty rock, we are so friendly. Okay, so now while I'm holding that there, I'm gonna start thinking through other pieces. I really enjoy working on this and watching these things come together. I'm gonna give this a little bit of support. I'm going to slice this one off. There we go, exacto. And now that that's happening, I'm going to come up here and look at gluing that. Well, that's a much bigger gap than I thought it was when just first looking at it. So let's skip that for now. come in and hold this in here, and we'll put that right in that place. Just give it a little glue along this edge. Keep it going. And hold that down as the glue starts to burn to my finger. There we go. So, you know, we've only been live for 50 minutes, but a good chunk of the beginning was not actually starting on this. So in like 30 minutes or so, we've already got a pretty solid structure. I think like within an hour of working on it, we should have this whole foundation done, I would think. So that's, you know, that's not a lot of time to build something fun and weird. Questions, anyone? I'm going to go ahead and do something here to add to this. I'm going to just slice this off at the top, see where it goes. Yeah, I think that'll work. Just going to give it a little glue along the edge. Slice it down. All right. Going to glue that here. Hold that in place and let that start to go. All right. It's crazy. I did not know that. So this is the first time I've actually projected it to Instagram as well. But I don't know if that actually translates in coming over to StreamYard. So I don't think any comments. Oh no! I don't think any comments are actually come through or anything. But my poor blade has lost its hilt. There we go. It's cool. I'm glad that other people are getting to see it from different places, different vantages. Okay, I'm going to glue this little bit on top. This will be a nice little platform, I think. So it's like you could have somebody on the very tippy toppy there if you wanted to, or you know, if a warhound or a salzerite comes in ready to attack. I'm going to watch my nubby little fingers and try not to burn them with the melty melt of the hot glues. Here we go. There we go. We've got that now down on top of there. We're starting to get lots of fun little structure going. We're going to end up needing more slices of things, but I think soon it's going to be time to, we'll have to be more precise as to what we're looking for pieces to go on here. Because we're going to start running out of big spaces and we'll have to just kind of figure things out. But do we want some more things to jut out? I think we do. We want maybe some more landing or platforms that things could actually stand on. So that being said, this may be a little too big. Let's go back to the slicing and dicing and get a few more pieces to add to this. You do end up using a fair amount of foam core doing stuff like this, but you know, foam core is not too expensive. And you can use any kind you can get your hands on, the super cheap kind, the fancier kind. Heck, you can use cardboard to do this stuff. Kind of slice this and see if this is the shape that I was looking for. I don't know if it is or not, but at least give me an option. Whoa, that's way too, looks like an airplane wing, and that's way too off. But this may work if I were to slice the tip of it off just a bit. See if my brain was mathing correctly. Nope, definitely not. Maybe if I flip-flop it this way. That'll work. I'll be happy with that. So to me, that means I've got to, I want to drop that down so there's a little more ledge for people to have height to. That means I just need to get hot glue right along here. So I'm going to do that, watching my thumb. Soon it's going to be time for another glue stick. I do end up going through a lot of hot glue when doing these builds. Okay, I'm going to hold this in place for a minute or so, let that set up. Sorry about having to watch the back of my hand. Let's see. Nubby hand. Maybe if I do this. Nope, there we go. That was just not actually connected to anything good. I was holding it in and the glue was not touching another surface. So that's not going to be good. That's not going to be a platform that characters are going to be actually able to stand on. There, that's good. That'll be looking deep inside into it. I think you can start to see that it's got some connection point, a couple connection points. So I'll maybe try and get that firmed up with another piece pretty quickly. Let's do that just to give it another spot because that's about to fall. No, don't let it fall. Hot glue over there quickly. That was the tip of my finger. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so now I'm starting to give it a little structure on the left-hand side and on that side, so that should start to actually come together okay. Ripping it off of my, ripping the hot glue off of my fingers. There we go. Poor little fingers. All right, almost out of coffee. And out of water, but that's okay. So if there's anybody new that's watching that is not familiar, this is for Sqwürmish, the miniature skirmish game set in the Vast Grimm universe, where it's full of infection, full of parasitic worms, bizarre, weird, over the top. It is miniatures agnostic, so you can use any miniatures that you have, but we do have miniatures that Malevolent Minis, Saul Blair of Malevolent Minis is sculpting for it that look magnificent. So if you're into miniatures, you're into sci-fi, you're into weird stuff, this is the place to be. If you're not, you just want to see me make things out of foam board, that's totally a-okay too. But definitely go over to sqwürmish.com. That's SQWURMISH, and check it out and let me know what you think. A little more glue. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I'm excited to have this structure done. When I did the very first one, since I've done two like this already, I was so surprised at how quickly it all started to come together, and that I could start to see where people would stand on different platforms or ledges. Seeing that, like, okay, we got him here. Now he can come down here. Maybe, well, don't get in the hot glue here or here, and knowing that there's this one he might slide down, but you know, especially once I start putting texture and stuff on with the paper mache, it'll give it a even more of a stability and places to actually hunker down. Okay, I'm gonna cut another one. I'm gonna do another technique and kind of show you that real quick. Taking a very similar approach to when I've cut somewhere I've done a partial slice through. I'm gonna take this piece here, and I'm going to do the same thing, where I'm going to do a partial cut through so that this can then fold. I don't know where this is going to go yet, but I do know that it's going to work, at least to some degree. I always try and find one of the points, one of the corners, and do that as a starting point for a fold. So I'm going to cut through the top layer of paper, but that's it. I'm not going to press down super hard, and then I'm going to give it a little snap. And that then gives me something that will allow me to create planes, because it's got a fold already built into it. And so that'll give me somewhere that I can start to add to it. So I'm going to do, I think this is going to be good because this gives a surface. If I move my fingers, if I move this finger, it'll give a surface here that miniatures can stand on. Still leaves a little bit of space to put some stuff in a bit. And that will also kind of allow me to kind of connect these two pieces together as well. So I just need to put some hot glue on the bottom, and then I'll come back in and do a little dab here until I get other connection points. Gonna hot glue along the bottom. And gonna drop that in. And then I'm going to do. There's that. There's that. And I'll just sit with that for a minute while those two little dabs decide to hang out and they start to cool. The glue starts to find its happy place. So that kind of tuck that back. I'm going to push the base in a little bit, only because I want it to not be just a straight 90-degree angle. I want to have a little bit of playfulness to it. Come on. There we go. That's good enough, I think, for that. I'm going to take a quick break. We're just at the hour mark. I'm going to run and fill up my coffee and my water, and I will be back in just a minute. Let's see. Where do we have? Not the banners. That's not what I want. Media assets. Here we go. How about we click onto a bio break? I'll be right back. And I've returned. Oh my gosh, what did I miss? Anybody that's here, was there anything massive that happened when I went and filled up my coffee? I even did a bio break since it said bio break on the screen. I'm back. I feel like I'm more powerful than ever. Gonna get ready to do some extra glue sticking. Oh, where'd my chat go? There we go. Okay. So thank you all for being here, and thanks for hanging out and tuning in. A small fire, nothing serious. Oh, thank goodness, Eric. Whew, that would have been rough. Well, hang on, wait. There's another cat that wants to leave my studio. There we go. Goodbye, Grunthar. Go on, buddy. All right. Two cats out of the room. One remains. Oh, luckily, nothing too big got burned down in the process. Let's see. So we've got this big space here. I kind of want to do something with it. So I think I'm going to try and let's see about doing a fold with this. We'll fold that down, and then we'll see where it goes and see if I need to slice this top part down at all. Anybody doing anything extra exciting this weekend? I've got to say, so yesterday, spoiler, you might want to plug your ears. Yesterday, I went over to the Tabletop Engineers lab, and we played the scenario that's in the playtest version. And holy smokes, I found the key card on the very first Grimm that I downed. And that has not happened in any of the games that I've played before. It was crazy. I was rolling really well for the most part, especially for me, who traditionally rolls pretty terribly. Especially after just playing the night before with Doug from Victory Condition Gaming, and the two of us just having terrible rolls the entire night. Okay, so I'm not loving what's happening here at the moment. It's not really fitting. Oh, maybe there is that. That's closer to what I was thinking. I think that'll work. I think I'm just going to have to bring the glue gun into there and make it happen, as opposed to trying to hot glue it and then come and bring it in and jam it all up in there. So I'm just going to bead some hot glue down here. Going to do a little squirty squirt there. And I'm going to do a little sneaky squirt in here. There we go. All right. Now this is the fun one. Got one of the extra long hot glue, so that's going to be slapping me in the face. Doing. All right, so let that set up for just a minute, and then we'll move on. We'll cut a couple more pieces, and then this one will be pretty close to being ready for, I think, for the paper mache. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 of these like this first, and then do all the paper macheing at once. Just makes it much easier to do when you're doing than jumping back from one to the other. Okay, this piece was, woo, there goes my finger. Okay, I'm just gonna drop that in like that, and then we'll find a couple other little pieces to put some parts in, maybe just to fill some holes, and then we'll get it all jammed up, and then start on the next one soon. Let's see. Do I want to? I think I want to. This one's gonna fit almost. We'll slice this one right down like this, and then we'll just glue this piece in place. Just gonna eyeball this one. I mean, with the doodly doodle that I did. And I know that I need to glue it along this edge and tap it down there. So we're gonna do the bead of glue. And for anybody that's watching, I have not really, these are my early forays into terrain making. I've done a lot of sculpting of large size monster taxidermy. I've done some kit bashing of stuff for the Vast Grimm photo shoots and things that I've put into layout. But the skirmish games are very new to me, as is making terrain for them. So there could be much better ways to do this. This is just I think this will work. Let's see what happens. And so sure enough, it seems to be working okay. But I imagine that I will learn a lot as I go, as I continue to build out terrain, because I do intend to build terrain for all 13 of the scenarios that are in the Sqwürmish book. I want to build all this. I want to build them all so that I can photograph them all, so that I can use that in the actual layout and have that give it that same kind of collage-y style that I've incorporated into all the Vast Grimm stuff. It's almost enough. I think that's enough we're gonna jam this one in here too, and that will give it some more, just another plane for the paper mache to go on once we start making a mess with that. Here we go. Whoa, That glue's not set up. That's okay. That's going to be just fine. Okay, we've got some more there. Oh, I totally forgot that I'd wanted to make a little cave for things, but that's okay. We will do a cave another time. So we'll come in here, and I do need some bigger pieces. I want to put some stuff down here. I want to fill in a little bit over here, put some stuff up here, a little more down here, and then this one will be done. But this is super light. It's super easy to use. And once the paper mache is on it and it's painted and it gets Mod Podged again, it's going to be sturdy. It's going to be so easy to put minis on. It's going to be fun to play with. All right. So let's see. What are we going to put? Let's see. What I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to cut like a triangle, and then I'm going to slice it down the middle partway and fold it. And we're going to put that here almost like a little tent that's going to go there. At least that's my theory. Let's see if it works out. Again, I'm just eyeballing this stuff, hoping it goes well. If it doesn't, it's just a piece of foam. It can always be used for something else. Doing a light cut here so I can fold it. Boom! And what I thought was going to work, it's really way too big for the area. But it works like this. Like in my brain and in my mind's eye, I thought it was going to slide in, but it actually works just like this. And it works fine. And especially if we're going to then add the Mod Podge to it and the paper mache, I think this is going to work just a-okay. So not how I envisioned it, but again, with those being a-okay with the direction it goes and letting the process sometimes dictate the design with this sort of thing is the way to go. Or as Bob Ross would say, happy little accidents. There we go. Got a little bit of the glue drip coming down the front, but that's okay. You know, it can have a little bit of a mess to it. This doesn't have to be super clean and precise. These are weird organic masses, some sort of strange moon mountains. I'm gonna cut a couple more little pieces and see what happens. Not little, but like small, bigger than what I've got, but not super large overall. Because I know that I wanted to get something in this area. I'm gonna just see what happens when I do a slice to try and pop it. See if I can, there, I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be good enough cover for once we put paper over it. Yeah, I think that's gonna be fine. Now just trying to figure out where I'm gluing though, that's the harder part. So I know I wanna glue here. I know I wanna glue here, here. Let's do a little glue here. And let's see if this sets up in place like I imagine. I think as long as I hold it there for a minute or 12, it should be a-okay. Okay, keep it going. Nope, it's wanting to pull up, so I'm going to hold that down a little bit longer. All right. I wonder, it's strange. I wish that this would actually be streaming live on the Kickstarter page. Like I put the video up on the page, but it just shows like a thumbnail. It won't actually, it's like almost where I was somewhere just a few seconds before. Like whoever gets there at a current time is like, okay, this is what's happening in the moment a few minutes ago, but it's just frozen. It'd be awesome if it could actually like stream. Perhaps I need to speak to somebody at Kickstarter about that. If anybody from Kickstarter is watching, questions. Okay, so I've got just I want to pop something in this little hole. think I want to come around and take care of this and this maybe here. Maybe we stop. No, I'm going to put something there. That's just for structural stability. There's something about that says, Brian, you need to do something. So I'm going to do something there. It's not going to be a lot, but it'll be something. Oops. There we go. Remember, making terrain should be fun. It shouldn't be stressful. If you want to make something, just give it a shot. Worst case, it doesn't work, and you make something else out of it. Okay, so I know I'm trying to make this so that this just kind of works for one piece for the entire thing, like there, to give it a little bit of an area. I think that's going to be fine. I'm just going to glue along this edge. Boop, boop, boop. I'd love to have some tunes in the background, but I fear the YouTube will quiet it down and make it so that none of my words are actually heard. Oops. Get back there. Just going to hold that in place, let that set up at least a little bit. There we go. Come on. Thank you for those of you that are watching along and hanging out on this this Valentine's Day Friday. There we go. Oop. The glue, it's sticky and it draws me away. There we go. Okay. Nope, that did not want to stay. Come on, stay here. I want to keep it in place at least so it stays for the most part. There we go. Okay. I'm going to do just a couple more little pieces, and then I think we'll be done with this one until it's time for the Maji Podgy and the paper mache. All right, I'm just taking some random pieces, though I'm not cutting all the way through the foam core like I'd like to. I'm going to glue this one down. Put a little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here. Ooh, the glue is dripping down inside the mountainous area. So there's still some negative space here, but that's going to be fine. That'll be filled in with the paper. Let's see. For those of you that are watching, would you rather see the... No, never mind. Strike that from the questions. I was going to see if you'd rather see the paper mache or see another one of these, but it really is much easier to get set up, do this, set up an area that's made to get messy for the paper mache, and do that separately. So I don't even know why I was offering the other. So I take that all back. So I'm going to drop this down. Whoa, this is getting, I don't know if maybe this long glue stick has a lower melt point, because it is gushing out of the hot glue gun very differently than the previous, the smaller glue sticks that were in there before. It's like, whoa, hey, it is ready to be free of the glue gun trappings. Laying a little down there, a little down here. Okay. All right, I think that is going to be this one. So, that's an hour build to just do the framing, the overall structure of this. Let's go ahead and test out. We're going to bring our machine over here to see stability, right? This is without even having the extra paper mache on it to give it even more strength and stability. We got all sorts of surface area. that a miniature could stand on. This one will slide down. But I think this is a good spot, especially if you have some monsters, some warhounds coming in, or you have some Salzrites coming in from beyond the board space where the characters can't see what's going on beyond there, to bring some additional monsters in. I think the structure of that is pretty set. We're going to be done with that one, and then we're going to see. Knowing that these were built differently but similarly, let's compare the two side by side. Well, I guess it's going to be a little difficult. They're similar, but they're not quite the same, even though they have the same base pattern, just flipped. It's cool. It looks like they belong in the same family together, but they are not. They are different enough from one another that they don't look like they're clones. All right, so here we are. I'm gonna just double check on the Facebook and see if messages come through there, since they're not showing up in my feed, but maybe there are no comments or questions that way. Oh shoot, there are comments in there. Damn. So it was Brian, Shutter, and Janet, and Ed. Hey, thanks guys. I don't know why your comments didn't come through on the. And if you're still here, I apologize. I don't know why they aren't coming in through my chat. Should show. It says it shows all destinations, but it does not. Let's see. Maybe it's just that it just shows me. It's only showing Facebook comments, so that's YouTube comments. So that sucks. I'm gonna have to find a way to maybe have this window open somewhere else as well, just to make sure that I can say hi to y'all. So let me move that so that is open, and I will shrink this down just in case anybody comments, because it's been a little while. Ed commented like 34 minutes ago saying that making terrain was so much fun, and Janet and Brian Shutter were an hour ago. So, thank you all for jumping in. And for anybody that is currently watching now, still on YouTube, Instagram, or the Facebook, we're going to come in and we're going to start that process all over again. Because if you weren't here at the beginning, I need to have 4 mountainous terrain areas, one for each corner of the 2-foot by 2-foot play surface area for the second scenario in Sqwürmish. If you're not familiar with Sqwürmish, check it out. Sqwürmish.com, live now on Kickstarter. So I'm going to grab the big piece of foam core that I was slicing and dicing from originally. And much like the previous one where I traced the base of that one corner, I'm going to trace the base of the other corner. So that's what I'm going to jump to now in just a second. I want to see if I can pop this out in a separate window. No, I cannot. Okay. So let me just at least give these people a likey like in the Facebook side, since that's not happening. Oh, here we go. So this is the other corner. So I'm going to trace the base of this. Then I'm going to flip it. And that's what we're going to use for the foundation for this next one. So again, this gets a little cumbersome with my desktop area, just a little bit. So I'm going to, I will do it all the way over on this corner. You may not be able to see this part, but what I'm doing is I'm just going to take this base in my face and grab my pen, just give myself a rough idea for where I want the corners, where I want to draw it to, and know that, okay, here we go. Just kind of tracing along here to get a similar foundation piece. Doesn't have to be the same, but just something similar. Okay. Set that down there, somewhere where I hopefully won't step on it. And then we're going to come in here and slice and dice just to get this piece so it's manageable, because this big old piece of foam core definitely is not manageable while I'm trying to interact and work on this surface. Heck, I don't even know where I put my knife. I think it's under the foam core. Dun 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 dun. Sure enough, can't even get to that. Let's see, here we go. Okay. We're just gonna slice this, watch any digits, try and make sure I'm on the cutting mat. Get that sliced off there. And then I'm gonna come here and just gonna get this big piece of foam board out of the way. So I just want to cut that. I know that didn't go through all the way, so I'm gonna, either one went through all the way. I definitely need to sharpen my blades soon, or get a new blade. But for now, I'm just gonna go straight through. Since I already had that base cut, if I do straight up and down, it's gonna be fine. Gonna do the same thing here. Gonna come in to where we had already cut. Get straight in. Boom. Move that big fancy piece of foam core out of the way. Now we have our base, like at least the rectangle that we're working with. Oh, thank you, Phil. Glad you love that color. Oh, it's cool. Now that I know that I need to have the Facebook window open at the same time so that I can see comments, that is much better. So what I'm going to do, since I kind of traced the outline of the shape, I'm just going to come in and slice this down so that we have a foundation to go on. And I'm going to end up flipping it so that it's not the same direction as that other one that I've already created. Since I want to be able to put them in the 4 different corners. Really, you'll be able to put any of them however you want, or however I want when I'm playing, because they're not precise. So it should work either way. But having things mirror from corner to corner, just aesthetically, that starts to give it a little, it makes it feel like it belongs a little bit more. And of course, as we build this up, this is going to be very randomized and just building as we go. So it's not really going to look exactly like the previous one. So again, this is just a foundation for everything to sit on. And then we'll build up some back walls. And then we'll start making fun shapes to jut out of this these moon rocks. Let's see if I cut better that time. I sure did not. I mean, a little bit better, but not great. I do need to go find another blade in a minute. Or maybe just after this project, it'll be fine. Now, I don't recommend doing this, what I'm doing right now, to having this up off the ground where I'm just kind of cutting through. It's a surefire way to cut yourself. But I've been cutting foam core, not for terrain, but for graphic design stuff for years. So, but that's also the thing. When you stop getting scared of something, that's when you end up getting hurt. So you should always be afraid of the blade. Boom. Okay. So this was the foundation piece. This was the base, right? And as I said, I want to flip it and have this be the top so that it mirrors the other one. Because of that, so that I do not forget, I'm going to take a pen and I'm going to write top real big on here so that I don't mess that up. Now, one thing I like to do with the leftover piece that I cut away the negative space, I can then easily turn that into the back wall. And these back walls just kind of give a foundation for where I'm going to start putting pieces building out from that. I think this may be a little bit tall. I'm going to compare this to some of the other ones. And if it is, we'll just give that a little snip at the top. Let's see how tall this one was. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh, it's like they were meant to be together. They're like the same height. Okay, we're keeping it. No, we're going to chop the top off just a little bit. We don't want them to be twinsies. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm just going to lay some hot glue down along this edge and slap it together. And then we'll have to build the other corner. And at that point, we can start actually start putting things together. So I'm gonna do this bead of hot glue, and I'm gonna slide that into place. Just hold that for a minute or so. Make sure that that gets nice and firmed up, connects. Then here we go. Okay. Ooh, it's stuck. And I'm gonna drop this down like this. Let's see. Okay, here we go. That's feeling pretty good. So now I know that this is the height that I need it to be. This is the length that I need it to be. So I'm going to get another piece of foam core. This is not squarish, so that's not even right, so that can't work. So I need a different piece of foam core, which is going to be this massive piece again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this corner, I suppose. I'm going to make sure I'm not going to knock anything over. I'm going to take this, I'm going to lay it down corner to corner, give myself an idea of what I need. I'm just gonna, just to make it easy, I'm just gonna cut this into cut this out of this piece so it's more manageable to work with at my desk. I'll just make things a little bit easier, and then we can go from there and actually make it into a fun shape. Okay, knife, check. Slicey dicey. Pressing down firm and hard to try and get this in one go without, there we go, that worked well. Doing the same thing here. Cutting at an angle like this is always a little bit challenging. When it does that, you can easily fold it, bring it in, although the paper is starting to, the back paper is starting to tear, so I'm just going to do this down here because it'll be faster and easier. There we go. So now we have this piece to work with. I'm going to double check it and make sure that I'm working from the right sides. Is that wonky? See, maybe it was like this. Nope. Maybe it was like this. This is how it was. Nope. Top, top. Maybe it was like this. I will get there eventually, I'm sure. There we go. This is how it was. But this is definitely not right angled. That's okay. So now that I have this, I'm going to kind of be like, I want it to be like this and like this. No, that's going to be too, don't want it to be too right angly. Don't want it to be too dark crystally. Okay. I think that's good. But is there really such a thing as too dark crystally? Probably not. Now that we've got that, I'm going to go and slice these down. And that'll give us the other wall. And from there, it'll be super easy to start building new shapes into it and gluing it in. If anybody has any questions about what I'm doing, about Sqwürmish, the Kickstarter, anything like that, please mention it in the comments, in YouTube, in Facebook, in Instagram. I'm not seeing, but I know it's blasting over there, but for some reason, but I'm not able to see any comments. So if you're commenting there, my apologies. And yeah. Or you can even go to the Kickstarter page and comment there, and I won't see it right away, but I'll be more than happy to post responses later. And some of these cuts that I'm doing for this side wall, this side wall, yes. Originally, I had it jutting down way more, but then I was like, you know what? I think I need to make sure that when some of these are going to be like the platforms, I want to make sure there's plenty of area for miniatures to be able to stand. And if it's angled if it's too severe of an angle, it's going to be difficult for any mini to actually be placed there. Again, some of this is the cuts are a little messier than I would like, but it's all going to be Mod Podge and paper mache and hot glued, so it'll look just fine when it's all said and done. Okay, so here we go. Coming in with this side. Just gonna check it out real quick before I start laying down some glue. I think this is gonna work just fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a bead of glue along the back edge and the bottom edge. Zoom. I'm gonna zoom it in like that. And then we are going to go ahead and slap it up into place and apply some pressure. And just kind of hang out for a minute. Just get to know that foam core. Just gonna hold it there. Make sure it gets a nice solid bond. And then realize that it's stuck to your cutting mat. No! Luckily, the cutting mats can be peeled up super easy. Once we're finished with these, I'm excited for what is next on the next things that I actually have to do some crafting on. I've got these 4 little locations that are going to be on this moon area. That are there's going to be some storage areas, and there's going to be an entrance into this into the actual mountain. It's going to be like an elevator shaft type thing that I need to build. So it'll be fun to build some other things. So I'm going to go ahead and start slicing this into more triangles that I can start gluing and figuring out how they are going to get pieced into this placement. So here we go. Triangle. Triangle. There we go. Thought the first triangle was going to do it, and it was not the case. Triangle. Okay, it's not really a triangle. It's got more than 3 sides. That's okay. Triangle-like. Triangle-ish. Again, part of this is where I start where I'm just talking to myself, and the randomness becomes far more random. So what is everybody playing next as far as RPG, miniature game, board game, card game? Anything exciting on the docket? I know the Neon Con, the Neon Lords convention is this weekend, the online con. I think that's probably going to be pretty bitchin'. And though I will not be there, I will be thinking about all those that are playing and having an amazing time. Okay, so now we've got starters. This is a ginormous one. I don't know what I was thinking with this one. But that's okay. I'm going to, slice this down so it's a right angle. And then maybe I can actually have this be like almost like structural support as it goes in and lines up with something else. There we go. Slicing that down. Moving this over here. So there we go. So that is actually, I think that's pretty good. I'll slice this little bit, this little nub, and maybe fold this down. Again, with the folding down, you don't do the full cut. You just kind of break that top piece so that it can fold and bend and not actually cut all the way through. Okay, so now I need to lay down some glue along here. Hang on, I see a comment. Almost there. While the top glue is moving, my brain can do nothing but satisfy the melding of the pieces. Eric says, Peches la vici. as part of a Monty Python's co-curricular reenactment. Oh, that's fantastic. Sounds like fun. My wife and kids were watching The Life of Brian with breakfast this morning. Okay, that is there, and that's foundational, although this won't, like, there will be things covering up a good chunk of that, but we know that right here we got a good standing place for a miniature. So that is already starting to shape up well. What else we got? Let's see, should I go ahead and start doing some more like this? This one needs to be a right angle though as well if I'm going to do it like that. Folding this all around. And then slicing one. Oh, that wanted to move on me. That don't like it when the foam wants to move. Okay, let's try this again. So we're going to do that. It's going to be at a slight angle. We got a little nub here. I'll just that one's just going to go all the way off. It was too small to just do a fold down. So gonna drop in some glue. Gonna drop in some glue. And gonna come over here and slap that over and hold that in place for a minute or 12. All right. Keep that holding it there. Now that's starting to come together okay. Let's see about, we've got some bigger pieces. Do we start doing something crazy down here? Start to see where this starts to go? Do I cut a bigger piece and do like that folded tent thing that I did on the previous one that wasn't quite right, but while we've got the more space to play with? I think that's a sound idea. Let's try that. Oh, but here's some scrappy scraps. Let's see what we can do with this. So, knowing about doing some sort of crazy folded tent thing, I'm going to take this piece. I'm just going to be like, whoop, zoop, zoop. Okay, this is going to be a big one, I think. Well, how about we come in at it at the angle from this corner? You really want to go corner to corner with this when you start to fold it. So I think because this is a big, awkward, long shape, I'm going to take it from this corner up into about the center and see what happens. And with this, like I had said before, you don't want to weigh down real heavy. You just want to cut through that top layer of paper that's on the foam core so that it'll bend, but it won't actually cut all the way through, because you want to just give it a nice little pop, right? Gives you that nice satisfying sound. I didn't put quite enough pressure there. And then, come on, Brian. There we go. Folding that. So now we have kind of like this tent-like piece that can be used all sorts of different ways. We could have it go back this way. We could have it build off of somewhere else. I think doing a plane like this is pretty cool. Now, we also have to be mindful of how severe of a slope it's going to cause, because if it's too severe, you won't be able to put miniatures on top of it. So that's something else that I like to think about as well, now that I've built a couple of these. But let's see, there's so many different ways this could go. Kind of like this. I kind of like it just being right up here. Yeah, I really like that angle. Something about the look of that I'm digging on. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay down some hot glue. Then I'm gonna lay down some more hot glue. There we go. Then we're gonna come in here and flap it in and hope for the best. Up a little bit more. There we go. And I like that. And I know it's not quite set yet, but I think that'll work okay, especially once we have a little more wall there. It's going to create some interesting shapes here. We're going to be able to create some fun faces there. It's really all about just trying to make it have a bizarre, weird, cool shape to it. So it looks like it's on some other planet. Like having this slight angle, I think will work well with that. We'll try that and see what happens. Sometimes you just got to find the pieces that you've got and see how they'll work before you cut new pieces. There we go. And then once this is paper mache and stuff, it'll have even more texture to it. So it'll give it even a little easier for miniatures to find ways and places to fit onto it. Let's see, what else do we have already prefab, pre-cut, ready to go? Not a lot at this point, but I'm going to glue this one on here and see what happens. Kind of like that. Again, this is, just seeing where it takes you. Enjoying the process. Knowing that whatever you make is going to look cool. Holding that in place. Okay, that's drying up a little bit. Okay, let's see what's next. What's next? I mean, we've got a lot of negative space here that we can work with. Do we come in and do something big? Let's cut this piece off and see what we can do with it. Maybe a little too large at the moment, but let's do something crazy. Let's cut a fold in this and see what happens. Sometimes this doesn't work. Sometimes I'm like, wow, what did I just make? But sometimes it's awesome. Yep, not loving it yet. Maybe I'm just looking at it from the wrong angles. Okay, let's see. Nope. Nope. I don't love this yet. Totally don't love it. What if I were to, let's see what happens when I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to fold it from the other side. I'm going to do it like this. That's getting there. That's closer to something that I think is okay. Yeah, I think that'll work. And then I'll just build on top of that from there. So it doesn't connect here, which is okay, but it connects here and here and here and down here, which is where I need to drop some glue. So we've got something there. So it's building some shape to it. It's not exactly what I imagined when I was making that weird shape, but I think that's going to work. It's a really steep drop here, which is cool because then things that have to move down certain heights and certain angles, that's going to be harder, whereas some things will move down that surface just fine. And then we'll be able to put in other things, other levels and planes as we come in from this angle. I think putting this in like this at an angle, you know what? It's crazy. I could actually just cut the foam at an angle, and then it would make it even easier to glue. So to do that, you're going to lay your blade, your flat surface, probably like a quarter of an inch to an eighth of an inch in, and you're going to slice. You're going to hold your blade and go at the same angle the entire time as you cut it. It's not going straight up and down, so you definitely have to make sure that you do it in a steady hand. And then you have a beveled edge along the foam core, which makes it a little easier to glue down like that to get it at that angle. So I'm going to go ahead and lay some glue on that beveled edge. Then I'm going to drop that down and hold it in place until it sets up. At least so it sets up enough that it's not going to... All right. Well, I like how that's going to be. I think I'm going to do the same thing with this one, where I'm going to bevel this edge along this edge and see how that goes. So I'm going to bring my straight edge, straight edge in just a little bit. I'm going to hold my blade at an angle, and whoop. Go along like that. Make sure I got that all. Okay. It creates a lot of little strays, but that's okay. So now I know that I not only do I need to glue along here, but I also need to glue along this edge. Which edge did I? Oh, it was this one. All right. I'm excited to get this into play, into Sqwürmish, into the second scenario. Get this one and the other part of the moon part done, and get all those worked in. I think that'll be fun. All right. A little more to go on this one. Probably another 30 minutes or so, I think, before it's time to figure out the Mod Podging and the paper macheing of this. Anybody have any questions here on YouTube, on Facebook, maybe on Instagram, perhaps? If you're on Facebook and you're in the creature curation one, so I'm not seeing the comments. If you are in Facebook on my personal account, then I am seeing any comments now, much later from when I first started. And if you have any questions about the campaign or anything, if you want to ask them here, if you want to ask them on the Kickstarter page, wherever you'd like to, or in the Grimm Place Discord, there is always that. That's usually the best place to track me down. Anybody else watching do much in the way of terrain building? Any suggestions on what I'm working on at the moment? Just going to take that piece and I'll glue that there, and we'll see how that goes. Just going to bring this hot glue gun straight down here. Come on, Brian. You are better than that. You are better than gluing your fingers and burning your identity off of the tip. Dun dun dun. So here I'm just going to start piecing together little bits and pieces to just kind of fill in these little areas just a little bit. Then we'll start working on some of the bigger spots down below. Whoopsie daisies. Okay, this glue is not set up yet, so that's okay. Those two will set up together. We'll be nice and happy. Okay, so next up, we are going to need some more pieces of foam core to be slapped in here. See what we can do. What shapes do I want? Let's just start doing some more triangles and see where they go, or triangle-ish. This time they're going to be a little bit smaller than the initial wave, as they should be as we start getting less and less negative space that we need to fill up. Now I'm going to start having things jut out from this area and just start seeing where things build. Okay, so knowing that this is coming here, I need to glue like up to this point. There are strings of hot glue everywhere. Oh, what a wonderful web we're weaving. Come on, get back down on it. I'm gonna just going to slide that in and hope that, there we go. Just let that stand up there for a minute. Next up, we're going to see about, we'll add this to the top of this. That'll give it a little bit of a little plane. Drop some glue down along here. Whoa! Drop that down in here. Let that set up. Give it a little dab of glue up top to just kind of give that a point of contact there. All right. Some little glue booger fuzz there. Okay, next up, let's see. We've got a lot of space here. Got a lot of space here. Got a lot going on, negative space going on over here. Let's see what we can do. What are we going to do? Let's cut this and see how this will fit anywhere. Too big. Kind of like that there. Then we're going to have to build up on top of it. But I still like that there. What if we were to fold this down? Hang on just 1 second. I'm going to do a light slice there so that'll bend. So this, we put this, no, that's not going to work because of that. Let's see. Nope. The angle's not quite right. Sometimes I get these angles backwards when I'm cutting these things, and it gets confusing. Could do it here, and then slice off the extra, and then the paper mache will fill in the gaps. I think that's the way to go. Yeah, that's the way to go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slice this extra off, what I believe will be the extra. See if I did that right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so need to do some glue along here. Along the edge, along the bottoms. And then we are going to drop this in. Hello, hot glue, my friend. All right. And then that's going to sit there as that starts to firm up. We'll fill in that space with paper mache when we get to part 2 of this adventure. So we'll get there in just a bit. While this is happening, let's see what else we can fill in. Let's go ahead and see about something for here. Now, every now and again, I'll do something like this where it's like, how is this going to work? Let's see if we can maybe doodle a rough idea as to how that would work and cut that shape out and see if it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's okay. If not, we'll use this piece of foam for something else. I mean, you see how sloppy, well, where'd it go? How sloppy that trying to trace was. This is not anything precise at all. That's okay. Slice it, slice it. Okay, now, wow, that's way off. Or this way, or that way, or which way, or what way? Okay, so we're going to go with this way. We're going to glue it down where we can. We're going to slice this little nub off. And we'll glue that in place, and then we'll start building up some more around there. So gluing this in place, I'm going to drop some glue here. Whoa, that was a lot of glue. I did not understand my own strength with the hot glue gun trigger. I'm going to glue along the bottom as well. Excuse me. And we're just going to set that up. There's going to be gaps. There's going to be holes. It's totally okay. John, what's happening? Thank you. John's over in Facebook. You can't see it in these comments. The hat, you like the hat? Thank you. That was a prototype I had done through Printful just in time for the Kickstarter campaign to see how it works. I have a Sqwürmish shirt as well, but it needs to be washed. I wore that the first day of the Kickstarter, and for anybody that's ever run a Kickstarter, they're usually the day one is usually a little bit stressful, anxiety ridden, and so it got pretty sweaty. So yeah, I'm just, John, since you're just jumping in, I'm just building some terrain. This is some moon rock stuff. I'm creating more to go with the other moon rock stuff that I have for Sqwürmish already, because in the second scenario, instead of having two on one side, you're actually going into an area where the whole 2 foot by 2 foot square has moon rock terrain all around it. Excuse me. So I'm just building more of these, and then we're going to do some paper mache, and just going to keep making stuff because making stuff's fun. Let's see. Just got to cut some pieces and see where they're going to work out. So I'm just going to do some more slices. I'm going to cut this piece of foam core down to more little nubby bits and see what'll feel like it belongs in different places. Now, cutting away from yourself like that is not the smart way to cut. You should be cutting towards yourself. Make sure it's on the side. You need to put a vent fan in your craft area so you can do half the stuff you want to do. All the fun stuff has fumes. Yes, it sure does. Yeah, that's why I stopped doing resin sculpting in the house, because that stuff wrecked my sinuses. But I much prefer to sculpt with a 2-part epoxy than other materials. I don't know why I'm already trying to fit pieces in here. I should be slicing and dicing. I just need to be making some triangles. So does your craft room, craft area have a place to actually vent it to the outside? Or would you vent it to some strange, would you just vent it up and away? And that's for Dagamit in the YouTube comments. Okay, slicing up enough pieces. Let's do another weird one. And we'll leave a little bit of scrappy scrap just in case we want to slice that down to something specific. Okay, let's see how we're gonna jam these all up in here. Kind of like how that is. Turning this to you this way. So if I glue this in like that, it'll give us some space here to put some paper mache. Where are my connection points? We got a connection point down here. Whoa, that was a lot of glue. Connection point over here. Sloppy, sloppy. Got a little dab right here too. And then we're gonna come back in. You would have to cut a hole through the wall. Yes, that makes it lots of extra work. But if you do a lot of it, I mean, it's totally worth it. this. I think that one's going to work good like that, especially if I can connect the two. A few minutes ago, I talked about doing a beveled like doing a bevel on the edge of the foam core. I'm going to do that here where I lay down the straight edge. Then I'm going to take the knife and I'm going to cut it, hold it at an like 45-degree angle to kind of give myself, I'm going to pull back a little bit more to give myself a bevel so that it'll have more surface area the way I want this to be laid down on here. So now, where did I want that? Oh, I wanted it here. So that'll have that bevel there, and that'll connect well. I'm gonna snip off the tip of this though, because it's gonna overhang. There we go. So I'm gonna glue that there, and then I'll do a connection point down there once this is in place. Okay, here we go. Coming in with those hot glue. Zzz, whoa. There we go. That glue is gonna let that set up for a second before I connect here. And just give it a little dab of glue there. Bring it along a little bit. Keep my finger holding it up so gravity doesn't pull it down like it wants to do. Okay, nope, it still wants to come down, so I'll hold it up there in place. It's coming along pretty well. We're getting closer, and this one definitely looks a little bit different than the previous one, so that's cool. And still wet? Nope. I'm moving my finger, and it's like, oh, I want to sink. Once this is done, we'll move on to some of the negative space down here. Maybe do a little hole there. And then I'll probably take a little bit of a break from streaming once we get this finished up. And then I will collect all my stuff, move some stuff around, move the cutting mat, get things ready for paper mache time, and try and figure out exactly how I want to do that so I don't make too much of a mess with everything here. I guess my face does not need to be as big. Nope, wrong one. Nope, that didn't do it either. Oh well. Hello all. Hey, DD Severn. Thank you for joining. I'm working on some additional moon rock terrain, cutting out some foam core, making shapes. We've done one already today, and we're working on the second one, giving it this cool angled jutting shapes. And once this one's done, then it'll be time to go into paper mache mode. How are you doing today, Dee? And then let's see. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's see about, do we have any pieces that'll make up enough to work well down here? I think I want to have one kind of come up at an angle this way. So do I want it to come down? Now let's do it at an angle this way so it gives it at least a little bit more of a place to land. Like this, like this. Okay, I'm going to glue that down first. Oh, excellent. Glad to hear that you're doing great. Most of these pieces have just been randomly cut and trying to figure out, as though it were a pre-made puzzle, how it all goes together. I want it like this? No, I want it like that. Or do I want it like... Would you not be fine if she was around? Okay, I'm gonna add this. I think this is the way to go. I guess I didn't really need that there like that, but it gives it some extra support. But I'm liking how that shape's being more like that. I think now I want to do the bevel cut on this side like we just did a minute ago, so that it'll give it a little more plane to connect down. Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to do this like that. Something has changed. My brain does not remember how it was supposed to be. But that's not exactly what I'd like now. Maybe like this. I think it's time to take this up. I know before I said you can just rip foam core up, and sure enough, that's gone now. That has now found a new home. I'm just going to put this one in like this. We're going to glue it, we'll hold it in place, and then we'll figure out what's next. Glue, 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 glue. We'll jam this in here like so. Move my fat hands out of the way. There, one of them. Bring this in closer. Come on. Let's see, maybe if I put this in, give it a little bit of support. Maybe that's where it was supposed to be. Maybe that's where it was supposed to be all along. Especially once we start putting paper mache down, it'll cover up some of these inconsistencies. I'm just going to hold that there for a minute with that piece of foam core since I'm moving too much to get it to actually stay in place. And then think, how many pieces of material are you using per piece of terrain? Like, how many pieces of foam core am I using? I had a giant sheet that I was working with and another piece of scrap for these two different ones. So I think probably one decent sized sheet of foam core probably, and then it has some sort of scraps left over. I've had a bunch of foam core that's been hanging out in my shed in my flat file for a while. So some of it's been like scrap pieces that I've just kind of hung on to for a long time. So I haven't completely paid attention to how many, but I'd say like one sheet probably per would do it for this. Just gonna re-glue this down, and then who knows what it'll take for some of the other stuff I have planned that I'm gonna build. Okay, this is gonna work okay. Got that there. Now I'm gonna drop in just a little bit of glue to connect these two. Like that. And those will dry up. The glue that's on the bottom is making a terrible scraping noise. So we've got this, and now see about adding this in to give that some stability. Just gonna drop some glue along. Oh, there's a little bump on this. I think it would probably lay flatter if that's taken off. Just gonna glue along these two edges and drop this down in. Where were we? Oh, I put too much glue there. Yeah, that's okay. Hold that in place for a minute. Something about this one, I'm looking forward to seeing how it comes together once it's got the paper mache on it. I think I'm liking this one the best so far out of them. I'm going to cut this. We're going to do this as a fold. I'm going to do a thin cut so it just barely breaks the surface of the top piece of paperboard. We're going to glue this one in here like this. Like that, yeah. Sometimes I have to remind myself exactly where I wanted the glue to be so that I'm not overdoing the glue. Come on, Brian. There we go. Get in there. So once we start paper macheing, all the little holes will be covered up. It'll fill in well. I want to put some pieces here, and then we'll see how this is in just a minute. I may want to put another plane here to give it somewhere else for miniatures to stand on. So we've got this one. Once there's paper mache, it should be a little more upright. I think this one will be okay too. Nope. 3, 4, 5. I think I need something here for them to stand on, or maybe right here, so that they can kind of like bloop, 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 jumping down a little bit. So if there was something jutting out here, I think that would be good. Let's see what happens. Again, this is just kind of part of the fun of this for me, is figuring it out as I go, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and being okay with the results no matter what. So like if I do this here, that'll give a small plane, let's see, right there for a miniature to stand on. I think that's going to work well. So I'm going to drop a bead of glue here. Hope that something along here will touch up. Okay. And drop you down like that. There we go. That's going to be good. Now I want to put a little something here, getting closer on this one. And all of this, you know, doing 2 of these in like 2.5 hours, I think it's pretty good. Do that like that. Give it a little drop there. I've got some other little tiny triangles over here that I'll just kind of drop some glue in and drop these into place. I'll give them kind of rocky, like once we start putting the stuff over to the paper mache over top of it, it'll all start to come together and start looking like good shapes and good things. I don't know if I'm going to want to do some rocks on here or not. I do need to get another little hand dustpan again, especially now that this is at my desk. This is my computer right here. I'm going to need to try and keep this stuff in order, because I really am enjoying doing the streaming bit. And so hopefully I will be able to keep this going as I continue along with all the terrain for Sqwürmish. Okay, I'm gonna magic. It's dangling. Okay, get off there. It went a little too far. Okay, I'm gonna slice this piece. And then I'm gonna see how I want this one to be. Let's see. I think I'm gonna do another partial cut just to give it a little pop and see if this see how this works on, see if it works on any of it. You might just buy a shed as a workspace. I can totally see that, and I can see that working. I've thought about converting my shed into a workspace, so we may need to talk at the next RPG night next week and talk over some ideas about that. Daggam it. Okay, this isn't quite exactly what I wanted, but I'm going to make it work, because that's part of my whole ideas with all this. You just make it and see what happens. So it's going to end up working out just fine. I'm going to put this one down here. I'm going to put this little dab of glue there. Especially once we drop the paper mache, it'll look cool. It'll look just fine. Do need to do a little something here so it's not just that flat area, or do I? Can I just do all that with the molding with the paper mache? I think I can. There's a lot more negative space in this one than, say, the other build that I did today. There's still some in that, but I like, these two are different but similar. Let's see if I can. They're going to work well together, and with the other piece that's part of the other two pieces that will make up this scenario for this moon. I think that's good for now. So, you think your wife is looking at different chicken coops if she gets one, you'll get their old shed. It's 12 by 18. Just needs chicken stuff cleaned out. Yeah, yeah. Don't want to be just like you don't want to be breathing in the other fumes. You probably don't want to be breathing in the chicken stuff. Um, but I'm going to take maybe a 15, 20-minute break. Um, I will let's I'll just I will stop this stream and start a new one, or should I pause? Should I just put up a screen and say, "Hey, I'll be back, bio break," and come back to this in just a little bit to keep this stream going? Decisions. Because then I'll have to put a different one on the Kickstarter page. Let me just mute this. I'll take a quick break, and I'll be back soon. Yep. All right. I'll be back soon, y'all. Thank you for everybody that is here. I'll be back in a few. Well, hello, everybody. I am back. Uh, yeah, that didn't take super long, and I know that I'm not really done with what's going on, but with what I thought I'd do in between. But I figure I might as well just go ahead and jump in and start doing it. Um, One thing, I've got to slice up some paper because that's part of paper mache, right? So I've got a bunch of papers that I would normally have recycled, and I just have them here dulling the hell out of this blade because I got a big old stack, and we'll just see what happens. Hopefully, I will make enough that I won't need more of them for these builds because I don't want to have to stop partway through and be slicing and dicing things up. But we'll cut through this, then I'll make some paper mache glue, and then we'll just start getting messy. As you can see, I've changed into my apron so that when I do get messy, hopefully I will get less of it on my shirt and more of it just on this cutting mat. Which the cutting mat, getting paper mache, getting glue on top of it, cleans up pretty easy. I thought maybe I'd put it on top of a. Come on, Brian. Thought maybe I'd put it on top of something else, like a wooden surface, but then I realized that's too porous. That's gonna make even more of a mess. So doing it on the cutting mat, I think is the right way to go. Oh, where did my comments go? There we go, comments. Hey, Eric. Yes, I have returned. Anything going on anything exciting happened while I was away? There was the fire again, but that was fine. One cat came into my office, and then they promptly left before jumping back in. She did not want to be subjected to possibly being on screen. Yes, slicing and dicing all this paper is thoroughly exciting. It is exactly what internet streaming was made for. Guess I could have done all this while the Be Right Back screen was up, but I was going to be standing here one way or the other, so might as well be chatting with y'all. And I'm excited to start paper macheing those. I guess I'll do the one that's closest to me once we get going. Now, the way I do paper mache is I have a leftover. I have a plastic container that I have with a mix of water and some Mod Podge, and I just kind of keep it going. It's almost like when you have a starter bread dough that you keep going. I just keep adding water to it, keep adding a little more Mod Podge, shaking it up, and it seems to be working okay so far. We are almost through this long list of pieces of paper. I'll probably just keep all of those pretty close by. Just what's ready to go. Okay, slide all these over here. Yes, I definitely need to clean this off. Oh, well, let's start with that and hope for the best. Worst case, I've got to start ripping some other pieces off. So I just added some more water to this slosh, but I think I need to add some more Mod Podge as well. Hang on, Sweet Tooth wants to go out of the room. But while I'm up, I'll grab my Mod Podge. The smell of glue. Dump some in. I don't think I need a whole lot. Get the edge. Get that down in there. Seal that up nice and good. Put that back where it belongs, or it belongs-ish. And then Get this? Just kind of shake it around. Ooh, trying to get too much out. Okay, now is the best part. Now is the trickiest part. To try and keep this from getting everywhere and me making a complete and total mess. Because I am good at being messy. There's one thing I can do, that's I can make a mess. Let's see. So I also want you to be able to see this easy. If I do it over here, then you'll be able to see it more. Fingers are already getting gross. Love it. Let's see. Can I figure out how to do spotlight layout? Nope. I want to spotlight layout the other one. Nope. Come on. Press shift. No. Spotlight layout, press shift +4. Shift 4. No. Okay, so I don't want me big. I don't want that. I want spotlight. Oh, maybe if I put these in, can I move them in order? I don't want that to be solo layout. Spotlight, nope. Nope. Okay. Well, I was trying to get that to work so that I could make that the bigger one. I'm sure there's a way to do this. How can I do this? Nope. That did not do it. That just blew it up in my screen. I don't want that. Let's see. Solo, remove from stage. No. Solo, no. Nope. Okay. So here we go. We're going back to where it was. I was just trying to make that one bigger so it'd be easier to see. But that's okay. So we've got this. You may have watched us in the building process of this. I'll do it at a slight angle. The main thing is now we just want to kind of cover it in paper mache. So I take the strips of paper, the random stuff that bills or whatnot, things that I've sliced up, and I just want to kind of just drape it down and see where it goes. And know that I'm gonna may make multiple layers on this. Try and keep all of my mess on top of this cutting board, and just keep building, keep going, see where it's going to go. Know that I want some wrinkles and things like that in it because I want that to add extra texture to it. But I am going to want no negative space at the end of times. Like once it's all said and done, I'm going to want all the holes to be covered up so it looks like it's a solid mass. I'm just going to keep working it like this. Then your finger starts to get gluey. Start grabbing one. What software am I using? Oh, for the streaming, I'm using StreamYards. Took me a minute for my brain to do the math. Sometimes with this, it may have to go once or twice. Do like 1 or 2 layers, and I'm dripping so much on where you all can't see it beyond the wall. Go ahead and just lay that down. And I'll even Mod Podge the backside as well, or paper mache the backside once we get this front area done, because I want texture to be back there for when players are seeing it at the table. Just think it adds to it when it's got that as well. Some of these I'm just going to build up around there. And get the extra drippage off, but make sure it's got stuff going. Gonna do some cross hatching, bring it across this way too. Make sure all areas start to get covered. And once this is all painted, so once after this phase, once the paper mache phase is done, then it will be on to the spray painting, priming it, and then from there, painting it, and then after painting it, it'll be coating it with Mod Podge to seal it all in. Maybe laying some glue down and putting some rocks down around the base. I don't know. I did that for one of them. I don't know if I want to do it for all of them or not. Well, for any more of them, I guess, because since one has it and one doesn't, I may need to do it at least for another one. And as you can see, I'm getting this liquid glue down all over this mat, which is okay. That's what the mat's for, to try and catch it. So it's okay to be a little messy and just try not to get it beyond the mat. Beyond the mat. Some of these I'll start to rip and tear once it gets down to the bottom. But this will probably need to sit up all night. Probably won't be able to prime this until tomorrow sometime. And that's if I decide I don't need to do another layer of paper. As long as I get all of the holes covered and it's looking to a point where I'm happy with it, then it'll be fine. But if I feel like I need to do another layer of paper mache over top of it, then that could just add another day of work time on it. There's something super calm and relaxing about doing the paper mache part. I mean, sure, you start to get those dishpan hands after a little while, but overall, it's super relaxing. Rip and tear. Music starts. Paper mache intensifies. Yes, yes, it does. It's always intense with the paper mache. And it doesn't look like much right now, but once you do this and once you get the primer on it, then it really starts to come together. I mean, especially having shown the other pieces, this is how I did the other ones, and I'm pretty happy with how those turned out. Need to check to see some point to see if the Instagram things, if the videos go for the like super long lengths of time like this is going for, where it goes for 2 hours and 40 minutes, or if it's if there's any sort of time constraints on that. Then after a little while, I'm going to end up having to like take pieces of paper and lay it all across my cutting mat to try and sop up the wet that's down there. Try and clean it up a little bit, and also not be wasteful. Okay, bring this in. Let's bring this in. Okay. Stuff's starting to come together okay. I see little holes over here that I want to just kind of fill in. Now, some of the geometric shapes you lose a little bit of that when you start to do the paper mache, but that's okay. I'm totally okay with that because it still has the basic structure that underneath of it that I was going for. There are a lot of awesome Kickstarters going on right now, especially with Zine Quest happening. There's so much good stuff out there. It's crazy. I'm looking up. I haven't, because I've been streaming so much today. I haven't checked my email, and I just looked up and I saw 50 messages. It's like, holy crap. I'm sure most of it's spam. I'm sure most of it does not need to be answered in any sort of immediacy. Dipping in, dipping down. Yeah, some music would really go a long way when doing this. I need to look into what is okay with YouTube while I'm doing this so that it won't mute me. Come on, get on there. Go in. Some of these, when you have little end pieces of paper that are jutting out, want to make sure that they kind of conceal and get connected to what I've got going on. So one of the things after playing Sqwürmish with Doug on Victory Condition Gaming is I'm going to introduce a swarm keyword for the Grimm. And with that, I'm pretty sure what I'm going to how I'm going to have that work is that if there is more than one Grimm engaged in close combat with a model, then if one creature of a swarm hits, you do damage for all of the number of swarm that are currently engaged with that model. So if you had 3 Grimm around you and you were in close combat with all 3, and one hit, you would take damage from all 3. Then if another one hit, you would take damage from all 3. It's going to make it more brutal, but I think it's going to, because when they get in close, when most things like that in a swarm is going to get in close combat, the damage that they do, anything that has that swarm keyword, is going to be minimal damage. Like, they only do a D2 damage, and if you're wearing armor, chances are you're not going to take much damage. But you get 3 of them in there, do D2 times 3, then you start then you actually start to feel that hurt. I've also come to realize that I don't like the bonus attack that threats get in close combat. Like, if you attack them, they get a bonus attack against you. I don't like that. I think it slows down combat. It makes it more confusing and convoluted, and they're already getting attacked on their turn when they're in close combat. So I think I'm just going to do away with that. Just hasn't been sitting right with me. So anybody that's watching has done any playtesting of Sqwürmish and you have any thoughts on that, let me know in the comments, either on YouTube or on my personal Facebook, for those are the places that it seems that I'm going to be able to see the comments. Continuing with the ripping and tearing as we build out this paper mache monstrosity. All right, this one's coming together pretty well. Pretty happy with it so far. And then after this, we'll do the other one. Before you know it, we'll have 2 new moon rock areas. Let's see, looking for that. So there's a little bit of a hole under here that I want to try and make sure that I can fill in with some paper mache. Get that extra wet off. I know Jim had talked about his friend using painter's tape for this. I wonder how that would work on here. I bet that would work just fine. Probably be a lot less messy. Actually, no probably about it. It would be a lot less messy. May have to try that sometime. See how that technique works. Just for science, of course. Continuing to build this out. Oh, looks like we should probably have enough pieces of paper for both of these without me having to take a break and do another round. At least I hope so. Hey, grapes, 1.5 pounds of green beans. That looks like this piece of paper was part of our grocery list. Lemons. Yep, definitely so. Get that drip off. All right. Hopefully, doing some of these streams will get some more people excited about Sqwürmish. Really want to get some more playing in. Okay, let's bring this down here. Down here. Just kind of going all the way down this line. Then we're going to have to bring that around and wrap it around to the back. It's crazy thinking about something that I think I probably did in like elementary school. Crafting like this would come in handy when building terrain for miniature war games. I think I did some sort of paper mache thing. Maybe it was plaster of Paris for some sort of science fair project that my dad had helped me with. Building some sort of wheel and gear assembly. Don't remember it being very good. I don't believe that was my fault. I think my dad kind of took charge on that project. Let's see. Do this a little here, give it a little texture. Okay. Getting close on this one. About to spin it around to the backside and take some paper mache on the back. Okay, here we go. Whoa, the backside's got nothing on it. Let's at least give it some texture, right? It's okay for these to not be straight across. It's okay to give it a little bubbly and swoopity whoopity. Almost there. Keep it going. That was a weird beep. I don't know what that was. That's okay. Ripping that there. Let's give that a little more. Part of this is just like covering up seams of the seams of the foam core where it was glued together, because this is going to look super realistic by the time this is all done. I know it ends up looking a bit cartoony and odd because of my quick paint techniques, and by that I mean my sloppy paint jobs and the bright, crazy colors. I'm just going to keep laying stuff down here. Oh, that's starting to look like weird tape. Maybe it's just that strange pink color of the paper. That was a separator sheet from Staples. So I got some stuff printed for this upcoming trade show that I'll be going to and later this month. Ooh, dripping and dripping and dripping. Well, this piece over here, there's some on the front that I'll just tuck that under there. That looks like it's starting to fall off. Okay, what are you going to do? Let's bring this down and bring it around front. Sometimes it's good to just overlap them, kind of weaving them together, adding a little connectivity between the two sides. Back here. And yes. All right. Now it's starting to get sloppy. My mat is getting overly saturated. It's fun. My hands are definitely starting to get that wrinkly dishpan feeling. I can sop up enough paper mache water glue off the cutting mat to be able to actually use pieces of paper. We're getting fun family faces in from some sort of mailer advertising stuff that came to me. Sopping it up, trying not to waste too much, and also clean up some of my mess as I go. All right. This one is pretty close. I'm going to have to spin it around in a minute, take a quick gander at it, and see if there are any holes in the front that I missed on the initial go through. Come on, wet hands. Again, if there's any questions about what I'm doing, about Sqwürmish, anything else, feel free to post them. Or if you just have anything that you'd want to chat about while I'm in here doing this. I think this one's in pretty good shape. What I did not do, which I often do not do, is I did not clear a space for this for when it's done. So I need to get some of that off my hands a little bit. I should have probably moved the hot glue sticks, maybe moved the hot glue gun. Move this stuff over here. Bring the next one to the forefront. Have a swig of coffee. And then move this one. There we go. Hopefully that won't stick too bad to the piece of wood 2x2 panel that I put it on, and I won't be completely ripping it up at the end when it's all said and done. All right, we're moving on to the second one. This is moving along quickly. So I'm just gonna, I had this piece, just drop that one in, see how it goes. Just gonna keep going with this. Drippity drip. And move this on. Keep that going. All right. And again with some more. So after these the paper mache on these are done, I will call it quits for the streaming for the day. But I will be back Monday at some point with more. I don't know exactly what time of day I'm going to stream yet. I kind of need to figure out how this is going to work with everything else, and how often I want to do this. Because ideally, I'd like to try and do it while the as much as I can while the campaign's going. There will be the time where I'm in Louisville for that industry show where I won't be able to do it for most of a week. But aside from that, I think while the campaign's live, I'm going to try and be doing something, whether it's this sort of terrain stuff, painting the terrain, uh, doing layout, graphic design layout on pages for the book, things like that, that I will just kind of mix up depending on what I need to do, what needs to be done that day, and like where I'm currently feel like my attention needs to be. Like I may do the painting of this on the next stream, so that then the following stream I can then take the pictures, take photos, the photos that I take of it, and show how the layout's going to come together for that scenario, even if the text hasn't been edited yet and that's not finalized. I still like to work on the layout ahead of time to get myself a good idea as to how the overall flow is going to be, even if I have to go back in and replug the text in. I haven't even been able to check the Kickstarter in a while because my hands have been so filthy. I don't know if it's made any movement at all yet today, or if it's pretty much stayed the same. Hopefully we'll start seeing. I just started trying some new ads. Hopefully the world will start getting out soon with more folks, and we'll get more people on board and excited about Sqwürmish. I know next week my interview on Ship of the Dead should be coming out. I also Tabletop Engineer should be posting the games we played yesterday. I'll be on the something paint play. I can't remember the first word. Stream next Tuesday night. So lots of stuff in the I've got a podcast interview Sunday morning. So lots of things are on the horizon to hopefully keep getting the word out and keep getting more people excited about the game. 2198. Thank you very much. Yep, that's it's about where it was last time. That's where it was last time I checked, I'm pretty sure. But hopefully more people start catching these streams and learn more about the game. These are, so one of the problems with starting to being messy with this, you start dripping on these and they all start sticking together. Ooh, drippity drip. But I really want to keep going because there's so many more stretch goals that I really want to unlock. Primarily, the rest of the minis would be great, but also things like some stretch goal adventures that are coming that are going to be awesome by friends in the industry that I know are going to do a bang up job. All right. This one feels different than the other ones. It seems like there's more negative space over here. I think this one's going to come together pretty well. Oops. All of these pieces. Come on, pieces of paper. It's weird how, hey, Bobby, it's good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Bobby's over on the Facebook side. Things are going well. Things going all right your way? Thanks for jumping in. I'm just working on some terrain for the Sqwürmish campaign that I've got going right now. You going to be at Gen Con again this year? I'm sure there's all sorts of delays with the StreamYards to the Facebooks to all the places. Things are going well as they can. Yep, I get that. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that. Thank you. I'm glad you think it's exciting because I'm super stoked for it. It's been fun getting to build this stuff today on stream. Hopefully, going to get to keep doing. Hopefully, planning to keep doing more of this, um, just because it's fun to do. Oh, excellent. That's great, Bobby. Uh, I look forward to seeing you there. And for those in the YouTube, that was in regards to going to Gen Con and running several games at the show. Since you cannot see the chat that's showing up over in the Facebook side. Bobby ran some Vast Grimm last year, and also ends up runs a lot of games for some friends that live near him. Tell YouTube they totally need to come and stop. Yeah. So Bobby said, YouTube, you need to come by and stop by the Gen Con booth. It's such a good show. So many people. It's just working on recruiting folks for the booth yesterday. Tyler, what's up, man? Love you too. Over in the Facebook, Tyler Stratton of Limithron fame just popped in. I'm just doing some paper mache, Tyler, for some scenery, some terrain for Sqwürmish. Looking forward to getting to see you in like a week and a day or something like that. Week in a couple days. I don't know. Today's Friday. Yeah, no, like a little over a week. Just keep dipping this stuff in the Mod Podge glue and keep moving it around, seeing how it's going to come together. Oh, my hands are starting to feel gross. Tyler's listening to oh, you're listening to the Ship of the Dead podcast, making show notes. Oh, thank you. In hearing me in stereo. That's probably more than anybody needs to hear me, Tyler. But that episode will be live for patrons very soon, and I think Sunday, if I remember correctly. And then the Ship of the Dead podcast will be live to everybody else early next week. So if you're not a patron, you'll be able to hear it then. But if you're into piratey related stuff, Limithron puts out some great maps every month. Luke really puts a lot into that, and I'm sure with Tyler and Zach's help, to keep things moving. Sunday Patreon, Tuesday public. Excellent. Thank you for that, Tyler. For those in the YouTube land that are not seeing Tyler's comments, or the Instagram land, or anywhere else this happens to be broadcast across the network, whether you're somewhere near the bitter void or maybe you're tuning in at some strange bar on Marauder's Cryosphere. Then gonna keep going. Oh, this one's coming together pretty well. I think this is gonna be. I think it's gonna be ready a lot faster than the last one. Although, I I think some of the surface area that I thought was going to be good for miniatures, it may be at too much of an angle. So I think I'm going to rip up some more paper mache, some more paper to glue that down to kind of give it some ridges and some areas that might be able to like slow down a miniature to keep them from like sliding down. Some slightly rougher, rocky terrain on this these strange moon rocks. For anybody that's recently tuning in on the YouTubes or the Facebooks, thank you for joining. I'm going to be doing a lot of streaming throughout the course of the Sqwürmish Kickstarter, from building terrain like I'm doing now to doing graphic design, layout, to other what all the different bits and pieces that I do when it comes to making a game, except for the writing part. I can't really write when there's other noise around and trying to interact with folks. I feel like I do my best writing in the morning before my brain gets distracted with everything else in the world. But you can see where I'll be putting scenarios together, doing layout of scenarios, doing basic like photo bashing stuff, all the stuff along those lines. And then doing more terrain, things like this, doing other like kit bashing style terrain for some of the other scenarios, because I do plan to build terrain for all 13 scenarios that are going to be in the Sqwürmish book, because I want to photograph all of them. I want to incorporate all that into my layouts. If there's anything in particular that you would like to see while I stream, let me know, because I'll see if it aligns with the other stuff that I'm planning. And as this paper mache starts to come together, you can start to see. I don't know if you can visualize how it'll be once it's got black paint spray painted on it, and then once I painted a pinkish purpley color. Charles, yes, I am still at it. It's like it's been 3 hours. You know, I think this is the future for me, because especially while I'm doing this stuff, because I would normally be doing it anyway, and I just have like a TV show on in the background or some music jamming. So at least this way, by the time I'm done, I won't have a voice left to talk to my family. It's crazy how much like nonstop talking when you're doing something like this is, especially when you don't have like a co-host or anything like that. I forget, because it's been a while since I streamed regularly. Because years ago, when I was doing a lot of like monster taxidermy style sculpting, I streamed quite a bit on Twitch, and did a lot of that, and I really enjoyed it for a while. You had to bail for a bit to get your daughter to cheer practice. Excellent. Well, thank you for coming back, Charles. I took a little bit of a break to go from the building of the foam core to switching over to doing the paper mache part, but I went ahead and kept the stream going and just put up a placeholder screen. Drink some water with a bit of lemon squeezed in it. Does wonders for keeping the voice while talking. Ah, yes. The problem is I don't like. I'll have to do that afterwards, because I trying to touch stuff while I've got these glue hands. It's like I feel like I'm gonna mess everything up, because once I start touching one thing, and it's like, oh, I can grab this and I can grab that, and then before you know it, my phone camera has glue all over the outside. My cats are just, their fur's all stuck together and nasty like. But yes, once I'm done, it will be time for that. And perhaps even for a bourbon with lemon, or maybe both. Both would be the best option. Letting some of this texture hit where it's going to hit. Uh, Bobby in Facebook says, I've thought about getting into Twitch streaming for a while now in regards to mini painting, but I just can't imagine what I would talk about. I mean, that's it. You have to just keep chatting. But like, if you could find somebody to get on, like stream together with, that makes it a lot easier. Uh, or you accidentally take a swig of glue, says Dagammit. Yes, that would not be great, but I'm sure it wouldn't be too terribly toxic. This stuff's watered down pretty far. So all of a sudden I can't go to the bathroom for days on end. I really enjoyed Twitch streaming for a while. It was good. It felt like it had built up like a good community of people that were coming and hanging out regularly. It also like kind of had me on a schedule, so I was definitely making sure that I was doing it at certain days, certain times. So I was constantly making stuff. Not that I don't do that now, but at the time it also helped to keep me motivated to do that stuff. It's definitely harder for me to do that sculpting stuff in the like and stream now because I just don't do it in the house and just do it outside because of the fumes. Uh, I tried streaming some of that from my shed with the shed door open, and it's just not having a permanent setup to do that makes it extra hard. Hopefully, before this is all over with, so I'll send some more prototype minis, and I'll get to actually paint some of those on stream as well. But that'll probably be towards the end of the campaign, I would imagine. Now I'm just connecting all the dots, wrapping all the fronts to the backs to the fronts, hoping this will all stay together and look good once it's done. All right. So, knowing that I'm probably gonna, I'll be streaming sometime Monday. It'll most likely be in the afternoon. I'm gonna guess, depending on what I have going on. It's probably easier for me to wait until the afternoon to do it, so I can get through all the morning stuff, do some writing in the morning. But next Monday, I should be painting these. But that'll probably go pretty fast. Like I just, I'm very loose and fast with the paint on terrain, so that'll probably happen quickly, and then I'll probably move on to something else. It won't be ready to photograph yet because I'll need that to dry, and then Mod Podge the top of it. I like to put Mod Podge on the top of the terrain just to give it an extra sealant, considering they get like handled so much. But maybe I'll get something else to the point where I can start doing some graphic design on Monday afternoon that I can stream and share. Oh, the Mod Podge drippity drop. Getting pretty close with this. I think once this is primed and painted, I think it's really gonna come together well. Do a couple more strips around here and around here. Then I think it'll be time for me to wash my hands. Am I planning on running this miniatures game at Gen Con? So I don't have it like listed anywhere yet. I haven't submitted anything for that. What I was thinking is that we'll have some of it at the booth, and then we will have, because we're supposed to be getting 2 suites again. Although we signed up for more games than the 2 suites. I was told that we'd only be able to get 2. because of the number constraints that they had with the numbers. So I was thinking that I would set it up. I would set up a scenario in each of the suites, and then also have it at the booth. So if there are people that want to play it in the suites, like after they play the RPG or in between stuff, they could totally play there and have like faction sheet or have character crew sheets, and have rules and stuff like that. I thought that would probably be a way to go with it. Do you have any thoughts on doing it that way, Bobby? Okay, I'm going to put a few more layers on top just to get this going. Because I know we have it listed that we're going to deliver in September. I'm going to do my best to try and do it as fast as we can, so that with luck and drive, maybe we can have it in time to sell at Gen Con. It's going to be a big push for me to get the book to the printer and everything done and finished writing, layout, editing, but it's gotta aim for that. Seems like a good plan. Just wasn't sure if with the Kickstarter timing. Yeah, since I'm building all this terrain, even if we don't have it ready to sell there, I'd still have all the terrain. I could print out prototype rules and stuff like that. And since Saul's going to be printing all the minis, he could have ones that could be there for that, specifically for that. Okay, so I'm going to do one more strip, and then I think this one's going to be done. And then I'm probably going to call it for the day and get the glue off my hands, get back to some other things. For everybody that's tuned in on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, about the Kickstarter campaign for Sqwürmish, any of that, you can reach me in the Grimm Place Discord. You can ask me anywhere that you can track me down. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm usually pretty good about responding to folks, and I'd love to hear any thoughts or feedback or questions you have. I know this looks like a mess right now, but if you saw earlier in the video and saw the structure underneath of it, and saw, okay, here we go, Brian. I said I wasn't going to touch anything. In the end, it should look something like this, because I wanted to make a total of 4 pieces like this to go around the 2 foot by 2 foot play area of Sqwürmish. So that's what this should look like by the time it's all said and done. So tune in next time I go live. You can follow the YouTube page. You can just check things out on Facebook and see when I go live. Yes, proceeds to touch everything. That's what I do. And I mean, I'm going to have to figure out how to turn this off. So I'm going to have to, I guess I might as well just like try and get this glue off my hands anyway. So I will be back to streaming Monday. I'll be around in the Discord and places like that over the weekend and all sorts of things like that. So reach out if you need anything. Please check out Sqwürmish.com or go to Kickstarter and do a search for Sqwürmish, Sqwürmish, so that you can check out the progress and hopefully get us to unlock some more stretch goals. Anyway, thanks everybody for being here. It's awesome to get to hang out with y'all, and I will see you next time.